Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to this webinar. This is a fun format that we like to call What's New in Beekast. And as some of you maybe already know, we do these kind of webinars every month. And the idea is just to keep you up to date on everything that's happening within the platform. So it's always a really nice opportunity for us to get your reactions live, to see what you think about these updates, upgrades, and evolutions within the product. And also to be able to show you everything that's happening, because some of these changes you'll see are pretty minor, but they actually really help with the overall experience. And at Beekast, that's really our goal, is to really help you have a more smooth and intuitive user experience within the Beekast tool. So I'm your host today. My name is Clara Planson. I'm the marketing and communication manager at Beekast. And I'm really happy to be here today to show you some little changes that have been made this month. And actually next month are bigger changes on the way. So make sure that you keep an eye out, because we have a lot of new stuff coming out in the weeks to come. All right, just going to make sure that everyone can hear and see me. As always, I will also be checking in the Livestorm chat. So if you have any questions, feedback, concerns, comments, anything you want to add, make sure to drop it in the chat section of Livestorm. And I'll just go ahead and say hello to everyone in this chat. Perfect. All right, if you can't hear me or see me, make sure to tell me now. I'm always happy to try to fix any minor little issues that we may be having production-wise, but I think we're good to go. I see that everyone is coming in slowly but surely. Hello, everyone. And yeah, as I said before, this is going to be a pretty short webinar. So if you want me to come back on anything or go over something that may have not been as clear, make sure to tell me and I'll be happy to go over it with you again. All right, let's dive in. So first thing that you need to know is that these changes are really made thanks to you. So what we do is we do like to really use our support and product team and our customer success team in order to gather your feedback and user experience. And one thing that we've noticed that was coming back a lot in terms of feedback for Beekast was the need to smoothen out a little bit the experience, especially in making it even easier. So first thing that I want you to take a look at today is this create a session button. One thing that has really been evolving is our want to make Beekast an even easier platform in terms of we want to make it possible for you to create a session in very little clicks in a very limited amount of time, because our goal is to help you go faster, but also really host better sessions. And so one thing that we did is when you click on create a session and you click here, as you can see on my screen, that should be popping up, you can go ahead and create a session here. Now, as always, I'll just go ahead and choose between facilitator or participant control. Here, I'll go ahead and pick facilitator. And as you can see, the second that I click on this create button, I will automatically be redirected within my session. And I'm ready to start creating. Now, this is great because before you had a couple more clicks before getting to your session. You had to add a title, for example. And this is something that could take a little bit longer because let's say you don't really know what you're going to call your session yet. Well, we've made that much easier now. Your session has a title by default. And of course, if you want to change it, you absolutely can. I can go ahead and give this title another name, for example, webinar. But by default now, keep in mind that your sessions will always have a title with the date, which makes it also much easier for you to find your session in your workspace. All right, so what I want to bring your attention to here is the center of my screen. So as you can see, what we did was try to make it even easier for you to start creating. So something that comes back a lot in terms of feedback, something that we hear a lot from our clients is, okay, I start creating a session and I don't even know where to start. Well, thanks to these three buttons, you have three options. You can, of course, start from scratch. This is what we're doing here. If I click on add an activity here, it's exactly as if I had clicked on add a slide. So this button and this button really just allow you to start from scratch and create your very first Beekast activity. So you can go ahead and add all of the activities that you already know, the word cloud, a survey, a rating, a matrix, anything. And then of course you have your Beekast slides, or you can import your content directly. Now, another button that we've added here that has become a lot more visible is the template option. So let's say you're starting a Beekast session and you tell yourself, well, I know that I want a really fun icebreaker, but I don't really know what activity. So when you click on activity, it's kind of hard to know exactly what you want to do and what kind of activity you should pick and for what purpose or what goal are you trying to achieve. Here, when you click on template, you will automatically be directed to our template library, where you have over 100 ready-made templates that you can start using. So let's say I'm looking for a fun icebreaker to get everyone chatting and allow my participants to get to know each other. I can go ahead and click on this little filter button right here. As you can see, I have my search keywords, and to the right, I have a little filter. If I click on filter, I can go to goals, and then I can select what my goal is for this template. So for an icebreaker, we would be choosing initiate communication. We want to start a conversation. So I'm going to click on this. As you can see, there are a whole bunch of different filters that you can choose from. Let's keep it simple. I'm just looking for an icebreaker. I'll go ahead and click on apply filters, and there you have it. Instead of hundreds of templates to choose from, you have been taken to our best icebreakers and templates that are ready to go. So for example, let's say I want to bring in the I know, I wonder template. If I want to learn more, I can click on see more just to know what this template is. And if I'm ready to import, I can go ahead and click on the import button. And there you go. I've imported this new template, and by starting the activity, everything is ready to go. So this is great because it really allows you to save time. And when you're kind of working from scratch, it can sometimes be a little daunting to start when you're not really sure which activity to pick. Here, with this button, as always, you can go ahead and just use one of our templates. And the last button that was present was import from a session. So let's say you hosted an amazing training session, or you had an amazing presentation and you had some great slides and you had some great activities that you want to use again. Well, you don't have to spend your time recreating each activity from scratch. You can just import a previous activity or previous slides that you've used in other sessions. This is great because it allows you to work from things that have already been seen as great, that you already think work really well. So it allows you to save time by reusing content that works. So for example, here I could go ahead and, for example, click on new session and then say, okay, I want to bring in this quiz. And then by importing this quiz, there it goes. I have my quiz ready to go. Just an example of how to get started in Beekast. All right, now that we've seen this, another new evolution that has happened in Beekast, and you may have noticed this, it's that we've given our activities some fresh, more intuitive names. So the idea was to help you find what you need faster. And we got a lot of feedback. For example, people telling us that the MCQ activity, which is multiple choice question, it wasn't clear enough. It wasn't easy enough to understand. And we really understood that because it is a term that is less well known than, for example, quiz. And that's exactly what we did here is we made it easier for you to understand what each activity is by changing the activity names. So we haven't done this for all of them, just for the ones that we've gotten the most feedback around. So let's go through them together. Now our multiple choice question, so the MCQ activity is now called the quiz activity. Pretty easy. These haven't changed. It's still the board, still the survey, but some of you may remember this used to be called the canvas activity, as in a white canvas, something, and which is basically just our whiteboard. And calling it a whiteboard is much simpler and easier to understand for our users. So that's what it's called now. If you're looking for the canvas activity, look no longer. It is now called the whiteboard. All right. Other activities that have changed is the photo wall. It used to be called the selfie wall, but what we realized is you don't actually have to take a selfie. A lot of people would actually use this activity by sharing pictures of their desk, for example, pictures of where they're working at the moment, pictures of themselves, pictures also of, for example, destinations, or even when you're creating a mood board through the photo wall, you can download pictures. So you even don't have to take the picture. It can really be any type of photo or image that you found on the internet, or that's already on your computer. So instead of calling it the selfie wall, which kind of reduces it to one kind of activity, we wanted to open it up, and it's now called the photo wall. Last but not least is our metaphor activity. So this activity used to be called the metaphor. And if I have any coaches, trainers, any project managers with me today, I think you'll all understand why we changed it. And we decided to call it the speedboat. So basically the speedboat is the activity that you can see on the screen. It's this idea, it's this really great brainstorming activity where a group of individuals can look together and plan out a project while thinking of what are our strengths? What are the goals? What are our weaknesses and obstacles? And fear not, this activity still has multiple type of backgrounds that you can use. So of course you can use the speedboat, but if you want, you can also use, for example, the car or the hot air balloon. So let's say, for example, you're using the car. You, instead of having for the boat our strengths, goals, weaknesses, and hurdles, you would have here, for example, the parachute. In our project, what are things that could be slowing us down? What are things that could be dragging us backwards? All right. What are our bridges? What are things that are going to be super helpful for us to get from point A to point B? So let's think about that. Can anyone come up with bridges? And then can anyone come up with the engine? The engine is what is going to help us move forward faster. So what's going to help us pick up speed? And then, of course, you have the abyss. What are obstacles, things that could lead us to crash, for example? And so these are just really great activities if you're looking to brainstorm in a more metaphorical and creative way. So I highly recommend you try out this speedboat activity. It's really fun. It works really well. And yeah, it's also super creative. All right, I'll just add it here so you can see it live. There you go. So this is now called the speedboat activity. Another small change that you may have noticed is that before this little screen that popped up on the left side was the activities were a lot bigger, which meant that you actually had to scroll a really long time to get to the end and to get to the content slides. And so a lot of people actually didn't know that you could scroll, and a lot of users ended up never knowing where you could add content slides or where they could import their own content, for example, here by importing their PowerPoint presentations or PDF content. So what we've done is basically just bring these activities closer together for you to really see in just one simple view all of the activities that you have in Beekast, as well as your two main content slides, the Beekast slides that you can create from scratch or importing your own content. And of course, if you keep scrolling, you'll find, as always, our other type of content integrations like Prezi and Genially. And of course, if you want to add any kind of video format, you can as well. All right, let me know if you have any questions. I'm just going to look in the chat very quickly. I see that everything is okay. Everyone looks good. Please don't hesitate. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. All right, so those were the major changes in Beekast that I wanted to share with you today. Now, a smaller change is for those of you who use the quiz activity, for example, you will know that there are usually, there's a countdown. So before in Beekast, when you created a type of assessment activity and you launched that activity, you would always have a little countdown of around 5 seconds that would get everyone in the mood. And it would really help with getting everyone in that mindset and gamifying the overall experience, because they would have 5 seconds to get into that mindset, that competitive mindset, and be able to say, okay, I'm ready for this quiz and I know it's going to launch in 5 seconds. Now, what we saw and what we got in terms of feedback was that a lot of people love this feature. So it was definitely a feature that we want to keep. But a lot of people told us sometimes I host like 30 kinds of quizzes and activities in my Beekast session. And it can get a little redundant to always have that countdown, because when you're doing it for 1, 2, 3 quizzes or evaluation activities, that's fine. But when you're doing it for 30 activities or 30 quizzes, it can get a little too much, where every single activity you have to wait 5 seconds before going ahead and being able to answer. So what we did is, when you're creating a quiz, for example, you will always still have this countdown right here. Instead, except that now it's not activated by default, it's disabled by default. So keep in mind, when you're creating a quiz, if you want to have that countdown, you just have to enable it. And to enable it, you just have to click here. And as you can see, it'll turn purple. Your little slider will be activated, and you know that your countdown is ready to start. So keep it in mind. It's a small change, but some of you may be wondering, hey, where did my countdown go? I used to have this awesome countdown at the start of my quiz activity. It's not gone. It's just been disabled from the start. So yeah, it's just automated that way now, but you can of course change it, and it's just one button to enable, and it goes very quickly. So just to give you a little preview of this, let's say I launch a quiz. Because I've enabled this feature, when I click on start, I'll have my little countdown that's ready to go and ready to put everyone in this kind of game experience. All right. Now, we're almost at the end of this webinar. Like I said, it was going to be very short. My goal here is really just to show you the little changes that we've made this month, and we have more coming in the upcoming weeks, so make sure to stay tuned. One thing that I also wanted to share with you is that these types of changes may appear small, but you'll see along the way that they are really going to help with your overall user experience. So if you have any feedback that you want to share with us, make sure you do. We're always looking to use our clients' feedback in order to make our platform even better for you. So yeah, always looking forward to that. If you want to chat with your customer success manager, make sure to do that. If you want to give us feedback, you can always contact us. We're on G2. You can contact our support team. So yeah, make sure to get in touch with us. We love hearing from you. Now, final little changes that I want to share. This is going to be less, I would say, important for you because it's not going to impact you directly, but it is nice to know as a facilitator or as the owner of a session. So we wanted to make it even easier for new Beekast accounts and new users to register and access a session. So before in Beekast, when you created an account in Beekast, you always had to directly verify your email, to verify, your account by validating your email. And so what that would be something sent to you through your email address. You had to open the email, you had to get the code, you had to click on the link saying like, okay, I can verify that this is me. And then you would get access to your Beekast session. So this was kind of a long process, especially for new users who just are excited to start trying Beekast. And so what we did now is that we've simplified this account creation. So now there's no need to validate your email. You'll just access Beekast directly after registering. So fear not, we've still thought about security. And what happens now is that basically we ensure security throughout the entire process through instant verification. So instead of doing it manually where you have to click on a link, we're just verifying it instantly on our side. And on your side, as a new user, you just create your account and you can immediately enter into your Beekast account and workspace. All right. Now, one thing that I also find super interesting and that I think you'll be happy to know is another experience that new users in Beekast had is that they used to have to create an account And when they create, for example, when they wanted to join a Beekast session. So let's say you're the owner of a session, you're the facilitator, and you're inviting 100 people to join your Beekast session. Now, sometimes people can join the session depending on how it's set up. People can join it without necessarily creating a Beekast account. But if you want to identify every user through their email, for example, then those people, they'll have to create a Beekast account. Now, before, when these people created a Beekast account, they would create the Beekast account, and then they would automatically be sent to their workspace. So let me show you very quickly. Instead of joining the session that you shared with them, they would be sent here. So that's super nice because you're a new user and you've signed up to Beekast and now you're in this workspace. The problem is that you didn't sign up to Beekast to look at the workspace. You signed up to Beekast because you were invited to join a session. And so what we did is for these users who are creating an account because they were invited to join a session, they won't be redirected to this workspace. They'll be automatically accessing the Beekast session that they've been invited to, which makes it so much easier for your participants not to get lost and to be able to join the session in just one click. So that's another thing that we've made a lot easier for you. And yeah, we're happy to get your feedback on it and to know how this has simplified your user experience. All right. That's enough of me talking. I'm looking forward to see if you have any feedback. Of course, if you have any questions, I'm here. You can always contact our support team. It's support@beekast.com. They're always happy to answer. If some of you here are clients and have a dedicated customer success manager, make sure to check in with them. They always know what's happening in Beekast. So if you want to be kept in touch about what are the new updates, what's happening in the tool, they'll be happy to share that with you as well. So you can always get in touch with them here as well. All right. Well, we're 22 minutes in. This is the end of our webinar. I'm going to give you a couple final seconds just to know if you have any questions. If not, thank you so much for joining me today. We have these types of webinars every month, so make sure to follow us on social media, maybe subscribe to our newsletter if you want to make sure never to miss out on one of these little what's new in Beekast formats. It's just a great way to stay up to date on everything that's happening at Beekast. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. Have an excellent rest of your evening and see you soon. Bye-bye.